In our next examples, we're going to leverage what you've learned so far to add interactivity with the page, and we'll do so using events. Let's go ahead and jump to the module folder. Let's open up the sixth step, which is called jQuery events. Go ahead and copy this entire code and paste it over the code that's currently in your interact.js file and save it. So this file is identical to our previous file, except we've added a new section here called events. And here's a link to the events section in the jQuery documentation. I'm going to go ahead and go through each example and explain what they do, and then we'll jump to the browser and demonstrate them all at once. This first item demonstrates the click method, or click event. And the way we add a click event to an element on the page is by using a selector to grab a particular set of elements inside of the jQuery object here. And then we're adding the click method to it. The click method takes a single parameter, which is an anonymous function that tells the browser what to do when the user clicks on this item. Just like in our previous example, it gets passed a single parameter, which is the element that got clicked. And so we can use that within the action itself. In this one, we're just adding a browser alert when the paragraph tag is clicked. In this next example here, we're taking anything that has a class of form text, and we're saying when a key up event happens, then run this code here. The key up event will typically happen in a text area or text field, and it takes a single parameter, which is an anonymous function as well, just like the click action. What we're doing is taking the value of the item that gets passed as the first parameter to this function, which is this variable, and this is just a pointer to the element where the action is taking place. And in order to access its properties and use the jQuery methods on it, we need to go ahead and wrap it in a jQuery object. And then we're grabbing the value of that and assigning it to a val variable here. And next we're assigning this value as the HTML of a span tag in our h1 tag. So the site heading will get replaced with the value of what's inside of our text element every time the key up event happens. And that happens whenever a user is pressing a key on the keyboard and the key is released. Okay, let's take a look at one more example before we jump back to the browser. In this one, we're using the hover event. The hover event is triggered whenever the mouse cursor goes over an element, and then also when it goes off of the element. And because there's two actions that are actually bundled up into that single event, it takes two parameters, which are two functions, one which contains code that occurs when the mouse goes over an element, and one with the code that occurs when the mouse goes off the element. So in the first function, what will happen is we're going to take the element that has the class region content, and we're going to hide it. And this is basically the entire content of the page. And we're using the hide method, which will simply erase it from the screen. It will still be part of the DOM, but it won't be visible anymore. So if you're familiar with CSS, basically what's happening is a display none is being added to the element. And then when the mouse cursor goes off the element, we're going to show it again using the show method. The selector that we're using for this is the A tag that contains the text logout. So if we have a link that says logout, then it will get this hover event attached to it. Okay, so we have three events to look for. We have the click event, the key up event, and the hover event. Let's go ahead and make sure that our code is saved and then jump back to the browser. Go ahead and refresh the page. Okay, so we have our click event, which should occur when we click a paragraph. So I'm going to do that here. All right, we got our alert that says you just clicked on a paragraph. Great. The next event is the key up event that occurs when we change the text inside of a text area. We have just one text area, so what I'm going to do is just start typing. And you see, as I'm typing, that the title up here is changing as well. Okay. And then the final one is the hover over, and that includes any A tags that have the text logout associated with it. So that would be this one right here. So I'm going to hover over it, and when I do, the content of our page should disappear. Sure enough, there it goes. And when I hover out, it should come back. There we go. We have two more sets of jQuery utilities to cover before we move on to looking at including JavaScript inside of Drupal. The first is effects, and this determines how the actions happen that manipulate the DOM in some way. And the second is working with CSS. Because working with CSS is such a common behavior, we're going to go ahead and cover some basic utilities